Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Marie Yambo. Our social media handles at KBC Channel 1 and at Marie Yambo on Twitter. On Facebook, it's KBC Channel 1 TV. Would like to hear from you. Now, a safe and healthy working environment is essential for the well-being and the productivity of workers. Well, the State Department for Public Service has rolled out a program, the Essentials of Counseling program within the public service to cater to the mental issues affecting workers within the public service. Well, to speak to us about that program is Amos Gathecha. He is the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Public Service. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Millie.
Asante sana for your time and to talk to us about this particular program at a time that mental health has really become a very big issue, not just in Kenya, but globally. But before we even delve into the issues of this program and the mental health issues that are affecting, that you've seen affecting workers within the public service, maybe you can talk to us about the mandate of the Department for Public Service.
Okay. The mandate for public service is essentially to ensure that we have a vibrant and responsive human resource that is supposed to serve the citizenry. And our mandates are as exemplified in the Executive Order number 1, and there are quite a number of them, and one of them is counseling and mental health. So generally that is exactly what we do to ensure that the public service is vibrant and responsive. Yeah.
Okay, so let's delve into the issue of the day, and that is mental health. What are some of the mental health issues? Mental health is a global problem, but what are some of those mental issues that you've been able to identify within the public service?
We have seen an increase in the mental health issues in the public service, mostly because of stress, depression, substance abuse, post-traumatic disorders arising from crises and disasters. So those are some of the things that are portending themselves, and they're having a toll on the public servants in terms of their productivity in giving the citizens the services that are required.
So when you're talking about taking a toll and hindering or hampering the service delivery, where are the gaps? What are you seeing if you can pinpoint areas? What are you really seeing in terms of the lack of, public service delivery?
When we have officers who are suffering from all this, we have seen less productivity. We have seen less interest in work. We are seeing a lot of withdrawals. We are seeing officers who have lost interest in work, and there is a lot of absenteeism. There is a lot of reluctance to work, and therefore these become pointers on what is happening to these officers. And now from there we start taking interest, and we start now thinking about how do we take care of these officers who are no longer productive, yet they are still in the public service.
Okay, and we will talk about how you are able to identify some of these cases within the public service, because then you have a program that has also trained some champions to be able to cater to that. But before then, what are some of the interventions then that the public service has put in place to cater to this kind of situations?
Okay, since 2006, the government has started a counseling and wellness unit. It is small. At the moment, we only have 18 members of staff, and we have an intention of expanding it. It is the one that now we have been using as a frontline to identify and to assist and to refer the officers that we find they have these issues. We have also created a lot of awareness in the public service. We even have come up with a guidance and counseling policy that is supposed to assist officers in all the ministries, in all the MDAs, to identify and to know how to deal with these cases as frontline officers in counseling. We have also established counseling and wellness centers, desks in the Huduma centers, so that if an officer feels that he's not feeling well, he can go to any Huduma center, and we have 52 Huduma centers across the country, and those ones are also really assisting us in reaching out to these officers. We have also now started training the champions, and that is why we are here today.
And I'll get to the champions.
Yes.
So you have the counseling desks within the Huduma centers,
Yes,
which means any public servant, worker can actually go to this
Yes.
and seek help. But I'm also wondering, how well are people embracing this? Because mental health is still a very big taboo, if I may put it that way. There's a lot of stigma. So how are people receiving, or are they embracing it?
Well, of course, there's a lot of fear of officers being known that they have mental issues. And what we have done in Huduma centers, we have small cubicles where when a person comes and they say they want to speak to the counselors in confidence, they are taken to those cubicles and they are listened to. And even the public service, we are encouraging them, if someone is working here and they don't want to see the counselor who is here, we allow them to go and see the counselor who is maybe in treasury, okay, or in education, so that because of the confidentiality and the fact that they don't want to be known by their colleagues that they have these issues, and therefore we are encouraging them to do that.
Okay, so that means within the ministry, if I may put it that way, they have their counseling sections.
Yes.
But somebody is free to actually go to a Huduma center
Yes.
and be able to get help from there, simply because of the stigma that is associated with, can I say, somebody opening up within their own working environment if they're uncomfortable.
Of course, there's that fear of stigmatization, and therefore the only way to address this is to allow these officers to be free to go where they can have their issues taken in confidence, and have somebody who will not be meeting them on a daily basis, okay? Because when you go to a counselor and you're meeting them every day, there is always that feeling that this person knows what my problem is, okay? So we allow them that flexibility, and it is working. We're also collaborating very closely with the NHIF, because we have a medical cover for officers, and we are allowing them to use the cards to go to medical facilities to access counseling and psychiatric attention in those facilities.
Okay, it's interesting that you've brought up the issue of NHIF and them being able to access, because the funding, or can I say the access in terms of financial ability for most Kenyans, that is not possible, and even I think the government has not yet put enough in terms of for the common person in terms of accessing mental health services. So what does the package entail, if you may know? Because it's one thing to be identified as having a mental health problem. It's another thing to find out, to get into counseling. But what other things, what are the steps? What are some of the steps that they're taken through?
When they go to health facilities?
Yes.
Well, that is quite professional.
Yeah.
But of course, they are allowed to visit the counselors. They are allowed to have as many sessions as possible to ensure that they get out of this the problem that they're having. Each public servant is covered by NHIF. There is a certain quota of amount of money that is kept aside for them for utilizing in a hospital, and that is what they utilize. And even if they exhaust that, we have what we call ex gratia, where we're able to top up, and they're able to continue getting the medical cover. As you said, the government has not done much. Yes, counseling and psychosocial support is still very new. It's one of the emerging professions that is coming up now, and this is the time now we are seeing a lot of uptake with the increased mental health requirements and with the stress that is now in this world, and especially after COVID, okay? We've seen a very big increase in the number of mental. So the profession is still evolving. It is growing, okay? And we are happy because we have a lot of institutions now that are training in that field. Therefore, the government has also placed counselors in health facilities across the country, okay? And they're also assisting the members of the public out there to access these services. Okay. Yes.
I want to delve into the essentials of counseling program. What does it entail? And then maybe we'll also delve into the champions that are trained within the essential service program.
Okay. Counseling essentially is meant to create awareness on the person who is not well. First of all, they must be made aware that they have stress. They have to accept that they have stress. They have to go through the motions of how to get out of this stress and to understand what is causing this stress. Because the more they continue living in denial or living in a situation where they don't know what is really affecting them, then it becomes a problem solving the problem. Even for sinners, first of all, you have to accept that you are a sinner before you get saved. Okay? Even for stress management, you must first, and mental disorder conditions, you must first be made aware of what is ailing you, and then you are taken through a journey of getting out of it, and it doesn't take a session, it doesn't take 2, some days it will take 5, it will take even 10, depending on the conditions of the person.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not so sure, but are there any successful reports that you've heard of? Could you just share like a snippet of maybe some of them?
I wouldn't have specific individuals, but what I can tell you is since 2006, when this program started, we have seen 92,000 officers, okay, who have come for this, and we can say that the success is there, and that is where we feel encouraged to even get more involved. This is one of the departments that we really want to revamp and strengthen in this ministry because the need is there. Yeah, the need is there. Yeah.
And maybe what are some of the causes when they talk to their counselors? What kind of reports are coming in that is causing mental health issues? People can have predispositions. People can already have, mental health disorders, not necessarily mental health stresses. But what are some of the issues that are coming out within the public service that people are complaining about? Is there an overriding?
Substance abuse is quite rampant. Abuse of alcohol, abuse of tobacco, abuse of other substances that are intoxicating. We are working closely with NACADA on this in terms of awareness, in terms of collaboration in seeing how we can assist this. Then we have financial stress, and especially for our officers who are in the urban areas. In an urban area, everything you do is it has to be money. Transport is money, food is money, school fees and rent. All this creates stress in its own way. The other thing that we are seeing that is coming out strongly is families who have people with sick people, especially terminal diseases, cancer.
So caregivers.
Yeah, caregivers, cancer. It drains the officers, okay? Because if some of the family members are not covered by NHIF because it only covers the nuclear family, okay? So diseases like cancer, hypertension, depression, all these, they are major stressors. And of course, the environment in which we are living. Some of them maybe are not living in very good environments. They are required to be in the offices in the morning, Maybe they are not having adequate meals, So all these are major issues that our officers are grappling with, and they are now pushing them into high levels of stress, depression, and all that. Post-traumatic disorders also. Somebody is maybe involved in an accident. Somebody has died in the family. You know, uh, some of them are not able to cope with this, and therefore they come looking for the counseling services.
Okay. There is, I don't know whether we can be able to talk about this freely, but the thing is, within the public service itself, within government, can I put it, there's also the issue of stagnation, promotions, and all this. And this sometimes has a way of getting into, productivity of people, and even can cause mental stress, issues. I don't know whether, if at all, there are any issues that you're seeing surrounding that.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Of course, when you're in a big system like this one, not everybody will move in the speed that they think they should move. Okay, but as government, we have recognized that, and we have what we are calling succession management. And succession management is where we are looking at the structure and seeing what gaps are there, and we look at officers that we can push up there, and through this we have been able to promote a lot of officers. We've been able to address most of these issues that are coming, but yes, it is an issue, okay, and especially where two officers got in at the same time, one does much better, the other one drags, okay, and when they compare with their officer, with their colleagues who are doing much better, then it creates stress. Those are some of the issues we are dealing with, but we are working very closely with the Public Service Commission to see how, where the cases are really deserving, we are able to promote them. The other thing that we are doing as a government is we have started a revolving fund for training, where an officer now feels that he's not being promoted because he doesn't have the requisite training, then he's able to get a small loan from government. He takes himself to school, and he's able to get the relevant skills, and they are promoted.
Okay. Let's delve into the issue of the mental health champions. This is part of the Essentials Counseling Program. And just like you've earlier mentioned, even the number of the workforce within the public service, they're only 18. So the mental health champions, what is their mandate in as far as boosting, the work of the health workers?
Basically, these officers are supposed to, first of all, be the frontline officers who are dealing with issues of stress, depression, detection. Okay, once they detect, they're the first line officers to start dealing with these matters. They're also supposed to create awareness among public servants. Okay, and they're also supposed to monitor and give us reports which form statistics and which will be able now to assist us to know the levels of mental disorders that we are dealing with. We also have the guidelines that I talked about, the guidance and counseling policies, okay, the HIV policies, and many other policies that are addressing issues of public servants. They are supposed now to be the front line in terms of ensuring that each ministry is following those policies and those guidelines in matters that are dealing with mental health.
Okay. I know we are almost winding up. In view of the emerging health issues, are there any other strategies then, other than that you're implementing to tackle this?
Yes, we are deepening collaboration, especially with all the organizations that are dealing with anything to do with mental health, counseling, and psychology. We are also intending to establish a psychological assessment center. Okay, that we want to establish in the next financial year, and from this center now we'll be able to approach these issues from a scientific point of view. We will be able to take officers who have mental issues through some tests. so that we can be able to assess the extent and what kind of assistance they require. So, and we also want to expand this department. As I said, it only has 18 members of staff now as we are talking. We have asked Public Service Commission to advertise another 60 posts, okay? And now we are bringing in the mental health champions who are also going to come and boost our work. So those are some of the interventions that we're having at the moment that will make us even better and more efficient. And as I said, we are also in the Huduma centers, okay? And some of these champions that we have trained are also in these Huduma centers. So we're expecting them to even take the matters up.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Gathecha, for your time and being able to elaborate for us what the State Department for Public Service is doing in as far as the mental health issues are concerned. And just like we've talked about it all this time, mental health is a big issue. You know, they say that there is no health without mental health, you know. And so maybe your parting shot in just a few seconds. This is your camera. What message would you have to the public service servants and also to Kenyans as a whole in as far as mental health is concerned?
Okay, mental health is a real issue. It is something that we have to delve with. And it has become more pronounced after COVID-19 that happened in 2020. And we have service centers in all the health centers across the country. As I said, we are in Huduma centers. We are now in all the ministries, so the public servants will be well covered. Studies done by World Health Organization and even the Ministry of Health here in Kenya has shown the increased rates of mental illness. And even in one study, it shows that every 4 people who visit a health center, 1 of them has a mental illness. And therefore, we need to be aware of this. We need to create awareness on detection, because that is what is most important, detection, so that now after that, care can be taken. So the issues are real. All Kenyans should be aware of these issues, and we request that whenever such cases are detected, then they are reported to health facilities, they are reported to counselors, and the issues are taken care of.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gathecha, and thank you also for tuning in to the program. Hope that you've learned a lot in as far as mental health is concerned in the public service. And if you are a worker within the public service, there is help for you. So do not shy away. There is no health without mental health. I'm Maria, and until next time, good evening.